Hey everyone, welcome to Nerds Talk. I'm Mike, your host, and today we're doing a special review today on Spider-Man Far From Home. With me today, we have a couple guests. We have Dwayne, we have Nate, and of course, our regular Chris. Today, we're going to be going over the same format we did with our previous videos. We're going to be doing an overview on what we liked about the movie, completely spoiler-free. Then we'll be moving on to a spoiler-filled plot summary. Don't worry about that point. We're going to flash up spoiler alert. We're going to put the timestamps in the video. So if you haven't watched Spider-Man yet, stop the video at that point, go watch the movie, and then you can come back and watch the spoiler-filled section. At the end, we'll then sum up what our overall impressions were after the spoilers are done, where it rates perhaps in the Marvel Universe, and any other Easter eggs or any other factoids we like to talk about. And with that, let's get started. So, Dwayne, we saw this awesome movie called Spider-Man, and what did you think overall about the movie? General impressions?
Yeah, general impressions. I thought I give it a solid 7 out of 10.
Okay.
I thought it was okay, a strong okay for me.
Okay.
I didn't think it was Homecoming,
Mm-hmm.
but it wasn't Batman versus Superman.
Okay,
So,
that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
Perfect. And Nate, what are your overall thoughts on the movie? Okay, perfect. Chris, overall impressions.
I came in with high expectations. They didn't quite hit my expectations.
Okay.
It's a typical Sony Marvel mix. I feel if it was Marvel alone, I think they would have maybe I don't know, hit a little bit more on the cylinders. But somehow Sony seems to make their comic book movies a little bit less than what expected, and somehow Marvel alone boost it up and make it very entertaining. It wasn't as good as the first one, Homecoming.
Okay.
I like the supporting cast, comedy and stuff like that, but some slow times in there where I think they could have cut it out. And
Perfect. And as for me, well, I enjoyed the movie thoroughly. Definitely wasn't my favorite Marvel movie, but I think I liked it more of an 8.5 out of 10. Yes, Homecoming definitely was a bigger impression. I think being the brand new Spider-Man of its time, especially in the MCU, I think it definitely had more of an impact. But I still think that overall, as far as some of the comedy bits, as far as some of the pacing, I didn't think it was that bad. I came out with a smile on my face, and as we go into the spoiler sections, we'll dig into those moments. But overall, I think it was a solid film. I don't think I'd see it in theaters a second time, which speaks to something. I've seen Endgame twice, but it's definitely a movie that I think I'd watch again. Sure. All right, so with that, we're going to be entering the spoiler section. So you'll see the spoiler tag flashing up right here. If you haven't seen the movie, please pause the movie, go watch it, and then come back. We don't want to spoil things for you. We might also touch base on some things in Endgame that are referred to in this movie. So once again, if you haven't seen that movie, stop, don't watch the rest of this. Check the timestamps to see our closing thoughts at the end. Okay, so the movie opens up with Nick Fury and Maria Hill. They're driving in a car towards an event in Mexico. Giant monster appears out of the sand. They're known as elementals. Correct me if I'm wrong in any of the things I'm saying. Mysterio shows up and saves the day. That's a very, very small summary of the opening scene. Any thoughts on that section, or should I keep going?
I was
disappointed.
I was hoping it was going to be Sandman, and
Okay.
I was hoping it was going to be Hydro Man.
Okay.
That was my hope.
Okay, that's fair.
the trailers made it look like that's the route they were going.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you're going to see these different, villains from the from Spider-Man era, and then they just turned it into elementals with a little bit of a flop there.
Absolutely.
I think they could have really gone somewhere.
I agree.
With the storyline they went.
Absolutely. So that is the opening scene. I think it could have been a better opening, but at the same time, I thought the Mysterio entrance was pretty cool. Him in the suit and stuff like that, I thought they did pretty good. Can't complain much about that. Other than that, it was the comedy didn't really like any of the Nick Fury. I think was particularly amazing.
Yeah.
Cuts to the Marvel opening. We have the Marvel opening showcase, the same you have in most movies, and then into a memorial video of Tony Stark. I thought that was touching. I'm just going to stop there. I thought it was pretty cool. Again, it was done from a high school perspective, but I thought it was cool how, again, it's continuing part of this universe. It's all connected to Endgame. It's connected to the previous movie. I kind of like how they had, even though the quality of like vision and stuff wasn't as good. I mean, it's a kid's work. But I thought it was nice, a nice touch, saying, hey, we're obviously past Endgame. This, I believe, later on in the movie they talk about it being 8 months later. So we know that the events that transpired, people who are dead are dead. They're not coming back, etc. Yeah, I thought it was pretty funny opening.
Yeah, I like that they took that opportunity to explain the blip a little bit.
Yep.
So people that were I think it was 5 years, right?
Yeah.
So those people came back the same age that they were when they were gone.
Yes.
And then everyone else. So one comment was, "My little brother's older than me now."
That's correct.
Which I thought was pretty funny. A good way. And they showed clips of the band disappearing.
Yep. And then
And
appearing
then a
back
basketball game playing, and then they're all of a sudden back there and they're slamming into the players. So I thought that was a good way that they could kind of do the backstory on how the blip worked, because Endgame, they could quickly say, these were the people that were lost. They have memorials now, and then they end it. The blip is gone, but they didn't really show how it affected everyone else. The other superheroes all came back to do that final battle. It kind of
Correct.
shows how everyone else
What
was
happened,
affected,
because it's-
and
Yeah.
I like that part.
Did you like the explanation of the blip, or do you think that was one of the cheesy moments?
It was okay.
Okay.
It was okay.
You can elaborate. We're in spoiler section.
I wish that they had more, because there's the one character, I can't remember the guy's name,
No problem.
who they said, oh yeah, he's aged 5 years.
Brad.
Yes.
Oh,
So
yeah.
Brad was
Yeah.
the one who wasn't blip.
Yeah.
He aged 5 years. Yep.
I think if they had more of those people, I would have been, okay, I understand. To me, as
whole
we
class.
went on, it's like the whole class,
Yeah.
I guess they all vanished and he was the only one who didn't. So I was like, okay.
It would have been interesting if they changed a character with one of them being older from the group, like Mary Jane or someone else who's now
Oh, yeah.
5 years older than everyone else. That,
Yeah.
that would have been a cool.
Mary Jane, it wouldn't work,
aspect of
though.
it. Yeah, but
But, yeah.
Flash could have been 5
Oh,
years
absolutely.
older or someone
Absolutely.
else.
But would he have gone on the trip with them? Because of the blip incident, they basically have to repeat at least the final. They have to finish their final year of school because they missed it. I think they said it was like mid-semester when the blip happened, so that's why they're back in school finishing up that year. So would technically
It would be
he'd be on
nice
the
if
trip.
like Flash came back as like a student advisor, or like a
Oh,
parent,
that would be
like
cool.
a student
To replace
assistant.
JB Smooth's role, the black other teacher that was on the trip with him.
Yeah.
Because him as an actor, a comedic actor, I felt that he didn't have a huge role.
Yeah.
It wasn't used as much as I
The
thought.
Flash could have been like that comedic, which he was as the student, but
Yeah.
he could have replaced. Would have been kind of him come back, part of the trip, but chaperone.
Absolutely. So we'll continue on. So after the blip incident and the news and Brad and Betty are talking and explaining that thing, we cut over to Peter and Ned are talking about his plan to tell MJ how he feels, his plan to purchase the Black Dahlia necklace. It's her favorite novel, I believe it was. Giving it to her on the Eiffel Tower. Ned is having nothing of it, cracks some jokes about like saving up spoons as an old lady or something like that. So they had a little moment there. And then they cut over to the class going on a school trip to Europe, right? So they're basically explaining that that's their next destination, is they're going to be going on a trip to Europe. Ned and Peter are having their moment, and then we cut over to a scene showing Aunt May having a fundraiser with Spider-Man. Good to go. They have a conversation backstage where Aunt May and Peter are talking about Peter. I think at this point they talk about the Peter Tingle they mentioned the first time.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, it's not a Peter Tingle. Don't call it that. And Happy shows up offering a big check to Aunt May's homeless shelter.
With ulterior motives.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Very awkward moment. So Happy and May share an awkward moment in front of Peter, who suspects something's going on between them, but obviously nothing more happens from that. Aunt May rushes off and leaves, explains, hey, don't forget, you got to go talk to the camera people.
So I like the little part where that whole charity was for homeless people, but it was people that were the blip that came back to their houses, but they were gone for
Yes.
5 years, so other people lived there.
Yes.
And she explained that the wife thought she was a mistress, the husband thought she was crazy and
Oh
stuff
my
like
gosh.
that.
Okay, I'm glad you explained that, because there's some things that went by so quickly.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't really know what's going on, but the movie just kept going. So I'm like, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think they just left those little bits for comedic relief. If you were listening, even on the plane, we'll bring that up as well. There was a moment of adultery that comes.
Oh yeah, his wife.
Yeah. So Happy and Peter have a conversation after May leaves. He talks about Fury. He's trying to reach out to him. He needs to answer his phone. Peter gets the call and ignores it. Decides to ghost him. And Peter goes back out to answer some questions to the crowd. He gets bombarded with questions about taking over for Iron Man. What's the next step for the Avengers? What happens if aliens come, etc., etc. And then it kind of shows a little bit of aftermath from dealing with Endgame, dealing with the loss of Tony, how he was a little bit emotional. He didn't know how to handle the crowd, which I also thought was nice. The fact that he is a teenager and he wasn't like a public speaking like superhero yet. You know, he even said, "Do you have any neighborhood questions? Like, this is too much for me." And then he takes off to the roof. Any thoughts on that? Good to go? Nothing important there?
What do you think?
Perfect.
Would you ever ghost? I would pick it up. Probably a good idea.
He gets emotional, takes off to the rooftops. Fury calls and he decides he will call Fury. He ghosts him again, decides he's going to call him after his vacation. So we then see him cut over to packing for the trip, first trip to Europe. He decides not to take his suit. It does show close up on the suitcase. BFP are the initials on the suitcase. A little Easter egg for Ben Franklin Parker. That's the name. His aunt tells him that he deserves a time off, but she recommends that she thinks he should suit. Right, having a moment there.
On a side note, I do like that they haven't really mentioned anything about, all the typical Spider-Man ones. It's all the backstory.
Yep.
Ben passed away, and then that's how he turned into Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
This one went a different route, which I thought was refreshing since they already rebooted it twice.
Yeah.
This being the third time that they little hints here and there that but they don't really go into the backstory. And Aunt May's younger and been on that, so I do like that about the Spider-Man. First one.
Perfect. So after the whole packing up stuff, we cut over to the plane scene where Peter wants to sit with MJ. He has a plan. He's sitting right now with Ned, and he has a plan that he wants to use his splitter, I guess, to watch movies with her on the plane. Okay. Ned decides to get up and help him with this, and has a ruse of Peter having a perfume allergy. Martin Starr, the teacher, gets up. Ends up making Peter sit with him in the back of the plane. MJ sit with Brad, which is something he doesn't want. And Ned ends up sitting next to Betty Brant, who doesn't want anything to do with Ned. Doesn't like video games. He asked her, like, "Oh, do you like this PC game?" No, I don't have anything to do with it. So I thought that was funny. There was a comment about a guy in passing about the Blips incident, thinking that his wife died. They had a funeral, and it turned out that he left him to cheat on him.
The wife had a fake
blip. Yeah, a fake blip incident. So they had that there. So yeah, Ned, Betty Brant end up sitting together, and then they end up dating once the plane has landed. We find out that they're now officially dating. That was a funny, like, teenager, like, summer love and all that kind of stuff, and I thought that was kind of funny, as much as it's... Go ahead. Okay, that's fair.
Because, like...
Yeah. True.
5 hours in...
Yeah.
5.5 hour flight.
Yeah.
Relationship.
A lot can happen.
I agree. No, I agree that it is a short amount of time. I mean, that's fair. I think the moment that she kind of perked up was when he grabbed her hand out of fear when they some turbulence or whatever,
yeah.
And she kind of looked at him like, "Oh, this is a nice guy." Now that's all we see, obviously, but I mean, it is a high school movie, and it is, like you said, getting the movie going on. I think they just set that up as a whole juxtaposition with his initial thoughts of being single. We're in Europe, and all the girls are gonna fall in love with all these girls, and then he ends up with a girl right off the bat. So I thought that was the joke.
Yeah, even Peter's like, "What? You had this plan of us being bachelors, and now you're like, I'm a man now. I grew up over that flight."
So they do some touring around Europe, right? They're on a boat scene. There's some awkward moments between MJ and Peter, caught looking at each other, looking away, that sort of thing. Jump ahead of here. They head to a hotel in Venice, Italy, where it's partially flooded. So they're all there. They drop off their bags. Let me know if I'm missing anything during this scene, because I might have missed something. Peter heads to a store to buy the Black Dahlia necklace for MJ. As he comes out, MJ confronts him, talks about learning the Italian word bow. Okay, had a moment there. Asks about the bag. Peter says bow. We move on. And then at this point, we notice that there's something weird happening with the water. We see some turbulence, and what happens? And then Hydro Man forms and attacks the people in Venice. So we have this big attack. Peter's there. He doesn't have his suit with him, obviously. It's in a suitcase. So he gets his launches ready. He decides to try to do what he can, shoots his webs, realizes it's futile, and then while trying to stop him, we see Mysterio appears to save the day. Peter finds a small mask of some sort to help hide his identity. While trying to stop the tower from falling, knocks himself out twice in a funny little moment there, and then we end up Mysterio saving the day. Anything to discuss there? Did you like the fight? Did you not like the fight?
I have a big question.
Go
Maybe
ahead.
You guys can...
Let's do it.
Did nobody see him swinging through the air?
Yeah, I was thinking.
Yeah. Did nobody see this?
I guess they were
Probably
running
the
in
mask.
fear, but
Well, that's the guys of like everyone running and getting indoors. But I mean, yes, there are gonna be people outside, absolutely, and that mask is not doing much.
yeah.
To be honest,
That was a little plot hole that
was
you could have found a bigger mask or something different.
true. Now they did kind of after that initial like when Mysterio shows up, his rest of the time is up in a tower. But I mean, the initial thing, absolutely, they should have been shown.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
that's plot hole.
yeah. All right.
That's fine. Point it out. That's important to say. So Mysterio saves the day. They have a quick conversation like, "Hey, I'm sticky. I'm strong. Can I help?" or something like that. I don't know. Some small quips. I don't know. Trying to get him back to that, smart mouth Peter Parker, I guess. Right. So kids head back to the hotel. Conversation with Aunt May and Peter. Talking about the fact that she backed a suit and all that kind of stuff. And then he hears that Happy's in the background. Happy's there. He's there helping her. And they, again, talk about Peter Tingle on the phone. Again, don't like the use of that. But, again, they're going with their own thing.
How come you don't like the use of it?
Spider Sense is what it's called. Why Peter Tingle? Like, just, like, I mean, they could have called it your Peter Sense or whatever. But no, just the Peter Tingle. It sounds like, oh, I got to take a tinkle. I don't know. It was weird for me. I was like, okay, I understand. Like, again, he's new at being Spider-Man. He's done missions and stuff like that. He's had one main movie. And then 3 other appearances up till now. And, I get that maybe he's Spider Sense. He hasn't completely fully developed his powers and he's still a learning process, and I'm cool with that. But it just is a little irksome. Like, okay, you couldn't have like just don't call it that. Call it like something, right? But it was what it was. It was his own little.
They picked it as a stick for sure.
They did. Yeah. They did. Peter and Ned head back to the room. Fury shoots Ned in the neck with a tranquilizer dart. Tells Spider-Man he is a hard person to get a hold of. Peter says he is the neighborhood Spider-Man. He's not meant for these missions. Fury says, I'm not going to use the words he used, but basically he says, you've been to space. Like, come on, don't give me that garbage about you're too small of a hero to do this kind of stuff. Fury tries multiple times to talk about the emergency, keeps getting interrupted. Funny scene with the teacher and talking about stress relief and counseling and stuff. I thought that was pretty funny. And so he says, we need to get out of here. I'm going to kill someone. They leave. I guess they head out to like a boat outside the area, the meeting headquarters or whatnot. He tells Peter, he gives him the rundown, says that they need him for a mission in Prague. They go inside to meet Hill, Mysterio. He gives him the gift from Tony at this point. Right?
Yeah,
okay. Mysterio explains that I already missed the scene. It's not a big thing, but there was a conversation after the water fight where they named Mysterio, yeah. Right? The kids come up with a name. So when he sees him, he's like, Mysterio. And then Jake Gyllenhaal kind of like, oh, Mysterio. Interesting. Like, I like that. So they have a conversation. He explains that he's from an alternate universe. They are on 616, which is their Earth, which is the prime universe for the general comics of the Marvel Universe. And he's from 833, which I found out is the UK universe. Any other comments you want to make about that? I want to make sure I got that.
When I did hear that, I was like, okay, he named 2 universes. I know the comics always went after they have multiple.
Yes.
They always had different numbers for universe. Right. And I figured that's the way that if they messed up, they could break characters. I heard those 2 numbers. They instantly clicked. And I was like, oh, those are actual comic book references.
Yeah, 616 is the main one. I looked that one up, and that's like 80% of the comics are from 616, and then you have all the offshoots like the Ultimate and other ones, right?
Yeah, so many different universes.
And just a question.
Yeah.
Was he really from a alternate universe?
Nope. We find that out later. We find that out later.
Okay.
I think that's pretty much just, again, it was an interesting, this is what kept me hooked. I was like, oh, interesting. So maybe he is a good guy. We all know, being Spider-Man fan, Mysterio is a bad guy, just like Doc Ock and all these other guys. So I'm sure we all were like waiting for the other shoe to drop. Absolutely. But when they said, "Oh, he's from another universe," I was thinking, okay, maybe this is a good one that turns bad. I was interested in that fact, or the fact that there are multiple universes out there officially in canon. Are they going to bring, other people back from other dimensions or whatever?
Yeah.
That was interesting to me.
When I heard that, I thought the two things: the Spider-Man multi-universe
Yes.
movie. I don't know if you guys saw that.
Yeah,
Spider-Verse.
into Spider-Verse.
Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
So that was like all about that. So I was like, oh, maybe they're gonna bring that into
Mhm.
it a little bit. And then
Spider-Man
the second one
dinosaur.
was like the Easter egg about the actual book. You like that part that they.
Yep. So he's introduced to Dimitri, who is the, I guess, driver specialist, whatever, for Nick Fury, special agent. Okay. Mysterio talks about the elementals, how they destroyed his Earth, and that he knows exactly where they're going to show up here. Peter says he can't help because his class will get suspicious. He believes they're good for too long. Also, if people see Spider-Man running around in a suit, they're going to know who he is because Spider-Man. Conveniently, his class is here now. Spider-Man's here, so he says it can't help, can't help. Fury lets him off the hook at this point. So yeah, so then that happens. Next scene, Fury arranges for his class change course to Prague. Right, we're on point there. Via a bus that was sent, Dimitri's driving the bus. They all head towards a new destination where the bus driver gives everyone a 10-minute break to have a washroom and whatnot, and then he directs Peter to a bar. Now, I wasn't sure about this. I googled Dimitri's name because there's a lot of references to Spider-Man. It turns out that Dimitri is the name of the chameleon.
Oh.
Now, whether that's going to be the case, we don't know. But the fact in Homecoming we have Vulture, we have Scorpion. I think Shocker was referenced as part of his team.
Yeah.
So I'm like, clearly everyone has a purpose in some way or another. Whether he becomes a chameleon or not is still up for debate. But he always looked very upset and angry, and maybe Sinister Six, maybe he decides to like switch sides or something. I just wanted to point that out.
That's to pick that up.
Yep. So Peter goes to the bar. A lady gives him a new suit, tells him to change. Awkward moment there. He starts getting changed. Brad walks in while Peter has his pants down, takes a picture in order to show MJ so that she will not like him. Brad admits that he likes MJ as well, and that's why he wants to tell her the truth. So we find out that Brad is not the guy. Suffice to say, they get back on the bus, and this is where we have a nice scene with the Edith glasses. So another moment, another touchback with Iron Man. He opens it up. There's a little message for the next Iron Man. Say Edith or read Edith or whatnot. He says it. The glasses come to life. Gives Peter an unbelievable amount of control over Tony's security and weapon systems. And then the word Edith stands for even dead, I'm the hero, which I thought again was a cute because that's so Tony.
Yeah.
Even though I'm dead, I'm still here. I'm still the guy who's doing everything. So I thought that was a really cool moment there.
So I was a little disappointed with the glasses.
Okay.
I thought Tony was gonna be voice, or I know in the comics
Like his voice was AI or something?
Yeah, like in the comics, he lives on through his AI. So he pass, he still has integrated in software. Those that software. So I was kind of hoping, Downey Jr. would still voice it, or have a holographic cameo, but
Any other thoughts with the glasses? Happy, disappointed? Before I get to the
No, it's fine.
moment?
I was used to
Karen after Jarvis.
No, you know what? Yeah, because I know that he also has Friday. in the
Correct.
books.
Karen was the one that was in a suit in Homecoming.
Yeah.
I looked that up. So right there, that's but Jarvis is now Vision when he
Yeah.
comes back. So we have Karen and we have Friday as two AIs, and this is the third AI. So I thought that was a little like, why not just use? I guess maybe this is literally just linked to the security and weapon systems, whereas Friday is like the suit and all that kind of stuff. Maybe there's a difference. Or not Friday, Karen.
See?
Didn't want to pay the actress, so they decided to get someone new. So okay, so they Peter has a moment reading people's text messages with the new glasses. He then accidentally calls for a drone strike on Brad as he notices he's about to text the picture to MJ. In his attempt to delete the photo he has on his phone, he ends up having to take out the drone, or he gets killed. Distracts everyone with baby goats, jumps up, kills the drone in the slow-mo moment. Thoughts on that?
Foreshadowing.
Absolutely. But any other thoughts on that? Do you think that was necessary? I mean, it was. Superman said that he did a whole slow mo. He comes back, his hair's all messed up, he's got the glasses. Peter, you don't think we recognize, but we like your style. I'm like, what was the point of that line? Okay.
Oh, I think the point.
Okay, that's fair. Good insight. Good insight. So we'll continue on here. They arrive in Prague, and in the new hotel, everyone has their own individual rooms, a la Nick Fury. In addition, the class gets tickets to an opera in order to keep them away from the big parade that's going on, big party. And that's essentially where the last elemental is supposed to show up, is in the party gathering. So he gets them to the opera. There's a scene between MJ and Peter. We're going to sit together, and then Peter's like, "Oh, Fury's calling him. Gotta get out there." Asks Ned to make up an excuse. Disappears. MJ decides to get up and follow him. Does that seem like you think MJ would do? Are you cool with that? Cool with that point? You're good? Should I just continue? Should I just continue at this point?
I think they're trying to make this MJ a little bit different
fair.
than any other MJ in the past.
But we've seen at this point that she is also awkward like Peter. She is very like emo, very like Black Dahlia and all. She has
She likes the dark side kind of thing.
right?
Like I think the Black Dahlia is after a serial killer.
Yes,
or
Yeah, it
something
was a
like
true
that.
story.
Yep.
So she has that dark side to her for sure.
Yeah.
And all the other MJs, there's always Peter trying to get after her, and
Correct.
this one's kind of showing that she's showing interest back and trying to doing that awkward teenager thing. I guess all the other ones were a bit older too, like getting jobs.
Yep.
Debut.
So and then we find out that just FYI, the fire mantle can grow very big if it gets too much metal. I think that was mentioned in a conversation, I guess, before the event happens. Yeah. So while the kids head to the opera, Peter has Ned tell MJ an excuse. We talked about that. MJ gets suspicious, follows Peter, and Ned and his girlfriend sneak off to join the huge party because they think MJ is going off to the party. So they take off. The fire elemental appears. Spider-Man in his new black suit tells Mysterio that he has arrived, so Mysterio can come help fight it. Nick Fury and Maria Hill are en route to help as well. Huge fight scene happens near Ferris wheel where Ned and Betty Brant are on at this point, right? So they're in peril. Spider-Man's there trying to help fight. His webs are getting burned up. One of his webs apparently gets through, knocks something off, and falls in an alley right where MJ happens to be. Fight continues. The really cool moment. I thought this point where Mysterio sacrifices himself to take out the Beast was a really cool scene. I enjoyed it. I didn't think it looked too CG for my taste. Thoughts on that before I continue?
It wasn't Green Lantern.
No, it wasn't. But I mean, absolutely. Like, if negativity, let's bring it on.
Ryan Reynolds would not have liked.
I know a lot of people hated the elemental fights. Period.
I didn't hate them, but it was like I knew. Yeah, you know what? A certain part of this movie, I was just like sort of watching it. Let's continue. Yeah, so I thought, I thought when he put it away, I thought actually the best part of that whole scene or that whole fight is when they called Spider-Man Night.
Yes, that was a funny moment, and then he realizes they're on the thing, and he's like, "Oh, I can't just fight. I gotta like try to save them," and that's when Mysterio decides, "Okay, I gotta do this on my own." I thought it was good. I thought it was a good setup of like, "Oh, there's a new name. Spider-Man's not supposed to be here." But overall, you just weren't happy with the fight. Did you find it was just too drawn out?
No, I mean, as you said, CGI was great. If he had died there, then I would have been like, "Oh, I didn't see that coming."
If Mysterio died there,
yeah,
okay.
But if with him, he's still alive, it's like, okay, there's a lot of time left in this movie.
Yes,
something's coming.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah, I thought too. I thought initially when he was on the floor, I was like, "Oh, he's out," and then maybe someone brings him back and he becomes evil. Because again, we're all expecting the other two to drop. We all know he's the villain. When is this going to happen? I didn't realize that these were fake battles until later on when I'll explain the moment that I clued in. But did anyone already know or already suspected this was all fake? Based on Mysterio's powers, based on what he's about?
So I had a suspicion that I didn't know it was visions or fake. I thought he was going to tend to be the hero so that he gained the trust with Fury. I didn't realize it was going to be with Spider-Man.
Yep.
I thought he was going to try because they were going to bring him to national defense and all that stuff. So I thought that was his way of trying to get in. It's like, "Oh yeah, I'll take you up. I might take you up on that offer and kind of thing."
Absolutely,
work his way in,
absolutely,
and then show his true colors that way.
Absolutely,
not realizing what he was after, attacking something.
So did you think the elementals were like he was really fighting them?
So I thought he was really fighting them, but he controlled them. So I thought with his mind and powers, he controlled them. They were real, but he
wasn't any real threat.
He was pretty much just a puppet master for them and doing his charade, and then that he would destroy them after, and it wouldn't matter. But not realizing that they were just...
Especially when the Hydro Man elemental, the water elemental, punches Peter and he gets wet. And I'm like, well, a drone doesn't shoot water. So again, I just think like, how did that come up? And then you see later on in the movie as we get there, drones underwater, caves and stuff. Okay, so we'll continue through here. Fury congratulates Mysterio. Asks him to join the team on a future mission that you guys just mentioned. Tells Spider-Man that Tony chose him for a reason, and he needs to decide if he wants to be an Avenger going forward or not. That's my summary summed up. He said other words, but essentially the same thing. You got to decide if you want to be here doing this or not. You got to step up to the plate. Spider-Man takes off. A little bit upset. Quentin shows up. They have a heart-to-heart on the roof, and then decides to go have a drink at the bar.
I think the heart-to-heart happened before the battle.
On the roof? Was it?
Yeah, so because he was worried, he was talking to Mysterio saying he's worried for his friends. He said, make sure your friends are inside, and that's how the offer came.
So I got that one twisted.
And then after the fight, Fury bashed him a bit. He felt down. He said, let's go for a beer. Let's go for a drink.
Okay, so I got that mixed up.
They go to the bar.
Either way, he's been having moments with Peter. Yeah. It's twice now where he's talked to him like, never, don't apologize for being the smartest guy in the room. Really like, I'm your friend. I'm like you. Yeah, gain my trust kind of thing. So this is a big moment. I guess this is the start of Act 3 at this point. So right before the end of Act 2. So Peter decides in the bar, speaking with Quentin, that he doesn't want to be the next Iron Man. And the way that he understood the message that Tony gave to him was Peter gets to decide who is worthy of the glasses and to carry on his legacy. He asked him to try it on. And oddly enough, he does have a look to him that looked like Tony. Just the shot, I was like, oh my gosh, it does look like Tony.
That's true.
So they did that. He says, yeah, you look like Tony. After he turns on the glasses, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. Okay. Maybe he was really good at this point. Turns on the glasses. Peter gives access, asks Edith to grant access to Mysterio, and then gives him the glasses finally, saying that he's the most deserving, and it's his choice to decide who gets to have the glasses and decides to leave. At this point, the dark shade starts to fall. Mysterio shows his true colors. So we have this awesome moment where the bar starts to materialize. We see some holograms disappear. Some other people shift out into focus. And we realize that the whole bar was an illusion for Mysterio's many powers. His crew is acting like workers. He reveals how Tony has wronged them all, and why they deserve the newfound power that Edith gives them. Very, very clever flashback scenes from other Marvel movies showing how the other members of the crew were integrated with other people like Obadiah Stane and Tony, and how they worked with him or worked in different parts of the company of Stark Industries, and with other moments in Marvel history. So I'm just going to stop there right there. Did you guys like those flashbacks and how they integrated it? Really made the plot solid, I thought. I
just like the callbacks. I thought this was one of the better parts of the movie for me. How they were able, that scene with Obadiah Stane bending that guy over, and then you reveal that that's the guy, and then even that scene from Civil War, where Tony was hologram young Tony, and then you're thinking that Mysterio or Quentin is in the background, and that this is where I thought, okay, thumbs up there. That was excellent.
So his motivation seems pretty solid, realistic even. Explains the illusions. He's a tech guy. He's very smart. We're gonna get into the illusion part in another scene where he's actually setting up his next fight. But I liked how they again drew backstories on these side characters that we see for very little in the movie, but it still gave them weight. It gave them levity to what are we trying to accomplish? This is a real world. We're all connected. Again, further, not just Tony references, but it's a Spider-Man movie, but it's still part of this whole universe. Everything is happening. Everyone's involved. I really liked that, and I thought it was really smart to bring the scenes back and expand on them the way they did.
It was one of my favorite parts in Endgame too, when they went back to the first Avengers movie and the different flashback. I thought that was so well done, and to bring that into the Spider-Man movie as well, I thought it was one of the better parts. Well, that was here we go, another good part.
Did you like the scene at all when they were revealing Mysterio and his crew?
Ow.
Absolutely. So from here, we cut back to Peter, heads back to the hotel, is ready to enjoy his vacation finally. Be done with Edith, done with his mission, and all his castmates are panicking because they have to go home. Trip is canceled due to all the monster attacks. MJ and Peter have a moment, the door, and then Peter decides to get enough courage to come back. They decide that they're going to go out and explore town together. Okay? They have a conversation on the bridge. I thought this was pretty clever, but we have a conversation on the bridge. She says she wants to tell her something. She blurts out that she's Spider-Man. He keeps denying it. She says Spider-Man was there. She saw him. He says no, it was Night Monkey. She pulls out the Mysterio tech covered in webs. He accidentally turns it on. He realizes the monsters were fake. At this point, he admits, "Okay, yes, I'm Spider-Man. We got to go back to the hotel." This is obviously really quickly summarizing that scene. I thought it was a good moment between them for character building for her. Not being like the whole Clark Kent glasses, nobody realizing. She's like, I suspect something. Let's be honest. Even when Brad is like, does everyone not realize that Peter keeps leaving the group and stuff? And I thought that was smart. Like, most of them brushed it off with like he has family in Prague, so he's gonna stay behind or whatever. And they had that whole thing. But I thought it was like, yeah, like Mary Jane and there's a few people were like, yeah, this doesn't make sense. And the fact that she went out to like, where's Peter going off to? Why is he always disappearing? So back to the question, is that right for a character? I thought this is really building up to who she is and who she is possibly going to become. Any thoughts there?
Who do you see her becoming? What do you see her becoming?
In this next few movies, probably nothing, but wouldn't be surprised if they end up making her Spider-Gwen character or something down the road, a hero of some sort. I wouldn't be surprised if they did that. I mean, MCU seems to be doing a lot of things slowly, just trying to break off and changing our expectations, I think, in certain ways. So I could see her changing, just like we had, like I thought Pepper Potts in Iron Man 3, specifically, when she got infected, okay, she's going to become Rescue.
Yeah.
And she didn't until Endgame. So I was like, wow, they drew that out, but she did eventually get there. I don't know if MJ specifically has ever become a hero. I think there was some
in an
comment.
alternate
It was alternate universe.
Thing, yeah.
I know Gwen is going to say she's Spider-Gwen, but I'm just, for some reason, they're building her up to be like that, brave, strong, female protagonist. Maybe something comes up. I don't know. I just thought that building her character. I like this take on Mary Jane, let's put it that way.
I would have preferred, to be honest, if they had left this reveal to the end.
Okay.
For myself, I don't mind the slow burn. I think
so, like him telling her.
Yeah, or it being confirmed. I think when it's like, okay, yeah, I know. And I thought for a minute they were gonna get away with it and just leave it till the end of the movie. But it's like, okay, yeah, I'm Spider-Man. It's like, okay, all right,
move on. Okay,
yeah.
That's fair. That's fair. Okay, so we cut to Quentin planning and creating his next illusions. This is where we get to see the magic under the hood, so to speak. So yeah, we see him using the team to pull it off. Each person doing their piece. One person dealing with the drones and the holograms. We have someone that's dealing with the suit and the maintenance of the suit, the voice work, all that kind of stuff, all working together. I like that it shows him again as that. I think Quentin, back, correct me if I'm wrong, for those who read comics about Mysterio. He's supposed to be, not so much in this universe, but generally he's supposed to be like a theater major, an illusionist, this huge like theatrical person, right? Yeah. So this kind of shows him into those roots of like, no, rewind that, let's double that, let's do this, kind of like again.
He was a director. He was the director of that show for sure. He's like, oh, let's double this power. I want to see it again. Let's fast forward it.
Exactly. He's like, hey, that's what
he's like, okay, fly, shoot, duck, sweep, yeah.
So I thought that was cool. Even though he technically was a scientist that worked for Tony, it still kind of shows that he's still he has those roots in some way, whether that's just maybe from childhood or something.
And that he worked for Tony, it augmented what he could do, because I think if he just came in as an illusionist, it's like he couldn't do what the film is going to show them.
Exactly. So we see him doing all that stuff. Then he sees a glitch in the production, and he asks about it. And one of the guys says, "Oh, don't worry, one of the projectors fell off a drone, but we'll fix it. It'll be fine in the final thing." He says, "Go back. Let me find out what happened." And he sees where it fell off. He sees MJ grab it, and he fast forwards, and he ends up getting. And this is what I don't understand. He ends up seeing them on the bridge. How did he get footage of that? Because our elementals were here. What happened? They went back to the hotel. They're on the bridge. The drones would have been gone. How he got footage to see them there, that was a little weird to me. But
I thought it was just another drone, but maybe you have a point.
Well, I think because Edith hacking to all cameras, so I think it was a CCTV.
Did he mention Edith? He did mention Edith.
So he had control of Edith.
He did.
Edith was
that's right.
And everything. So I would assume it would have been a camera from
the street.
A street or a building of some sort, and he was just tracking them that way.
So he sees that. He sees him accidentally turning it on, and then he realizes, okay, I'm gonna have to kill Peter. He also shows his true colors by turning a couple of the drones on his buddy, about to kill him for the situation if he doesn't like find it.
Yeah.
Piece and figure this out. So I was like, oh, okay, here's where you realize he does have a dark side. He is not just like this nice guy. He literally has a motive. So I thought that was great, kind of leading up to his ultimate. Did you want to say anything? Hmm?
Good even. Not really. Guy finally.
Sure. So after this scene, we cut back to the hotel room where Peter has to get changed in front of MJ. Get an awkward moment here. He gets changed. Ned walks in, sees Peter getting dressed, and he tries to cover up for him. He's like, "Oh, you're getting ready for that costume party?" He's like, "No, Ned, no. She knows now." Have their little moment. He jumps out the window. Got to go take Detective Fury, and Ned and her have a moment about who knows they did their own. A lot of awkward moments in the kids I find. I mean, I get it that sometimes teenagers are awkward, but not all teachers. I thought it was. I enjoyed some of the levity in it, but I thought that it went a scotch over too much.
Do you
Anyone
think?
agree with that?
Do you think they were aiming for a younger demographic?
I would assume they'd have to be. I would have to be. But I mean, even so, I mean, it's been a while since I've been in high school, and it isn't officially in later high school yet. But I don't think like just remembering what high school is for me. Yeah, I understand having questions and being awkward and being afraid to talk to the girl and stuff. I get that, but I'm like, you're there. You clearly they've gone on a date. I think in homecoming, right? Is that right? No, they went to the
No.
dance. They went to the dance. But I mean, like they've talked. They've hung out on this trip. He just revealed to her that he's Spider-Man. Awkwardness could get a little less at this point. Like that's an intimate detail to share. I don't know. I just thought it was a little.
I can understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that it was wrong to have the awkwardness in there. I just thought that like not every single scene needs to have an
It's
awkward
like
moment.
enough already.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They definitely had their jokes that they were going to stick and throughout the
Yes.
movie, and they were not getting. They're just holding true to every
Yes.
single joke.
And some of
that
them
they
were
gonna
great.
do.
Some of the little moments were just like a little chuckle and stuff, and that was fine.
Yeah.
So he jumps out the window, right? Okay, so he's swinging out towards Nick Fury, and then Fury pulls up in a car. Fury gets in, and on their way toward as they head out towards a white building, he starts explaining. He's like, "Okay, let's wait till we get there." No, I gotta tell you now. I gotta tell you now what's going on. They get into the elevator. Maria Hill is there. They head up to the room, having a conversation, and then an amazing scene takes place as everything turns out to be an illusion. So before I go into the details, a lot happened in this sequence. I thought just at this point was an amazing sequence. Anyone disagree with me at that point?
No, so just so I'm clear, this is
Yes.
when Mysterio.
This is when
really shows his
Mysterio
stuff.
decides to hurt Peter. This is when we get the building falling down. We got
Yeah.
the shot. We get the
Yeah.
zombie Iron Man with the spiders coming out. Like just everything. And I was just like, wow, I didn't expect that. But here's Iron Man, just playing on his emotions, just messing with Peter's head. And I thought the only reference I could draw this to is Batman and Scarecrow with the fear gas and like really like messing with reality. I'm like, this is what Mysterio is about. This is cool. And how like Peter was struggling to like swing and get his bearings. And I'm like, wow, this is how he's a villain. This is where his powers come from. So I really enjoyed that scene. Yeah, I'm not going to get to the end yet. Does anyone want to talk about anything that they saw? Any references you're interested in? Do you disagree that the scene was good?
No, go ahead. No. I was just gonna say, yeah, for me, this is where the movie significantly,
Absolutely.
and it was like, okay, now this is what I've been waiting for.
Yes.
But they actually exceeded what I thought they were going to do.
Fair. Yep.
Like it was like to the point. It almost reminded me of the first time that I saw The Matrix, and when I came out
Yes.
of The
Good
Matrix,
moment.
I really had to shake my head because like, oh,
What
that
did I
movie
just
really
see?
affected me. This was so well done, and the way it kept going in and out and in and out is like, and then you think it's over, then it's not, and it's like, that was
Yes.
excellent.
So before you speak, I'll just finish. So yeah, so the sequence gets to a point where Nick Fury shows up and tases Mysterio, who falls down. And Spider-Man's like, "Oh, thank goodness you're here." And he says, "Is there anyone else that you told about this?" He's like, "Yes, I told Ned and I told MJ." Spilling the beans. And then right away I was like, no, that's not him. That's not him. I just knew, like, okay, this is like still
Good
an
for you,
illusion.
because I didn't.
I picked up
Yeah.
right away.
Yeah.
I was like, when he tased him, and as soon as Fury said, "Who else did you tell?" I'm like, that's not Fury. That Fury doesn't like. That's not something Fury. It's like there's something about Fury just seemed off in this movie, and we'll get to that as well. But something about Fury's just persona, I thought in certain moments was like, that's a little different. That's a little different, and I guess it's addressed. But at that moment, that line when he says, "Who else did you tell?" I was like, this is definitely not Nick. That's the moment that I knew. And the same thing when the bar first started materializing, I was like, all those elementals were fake. That was the one I knew. Like I knew the
Okay.
moment that they were in the bar and they were talking about the glasses, I'm like, he's bad. This is not happening. I knew at that point this is an illusion before the things happened. I didn't guess that the monsters were fake until like he did like the whole setting everything up. I was like, oh, the whole thing was an illusion.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that was interesting. Go ahead.
That was one of the best parts for me as well. You hit it right on the head. I wanted more of that through it.
Yes.
And I wanted him to show that illusion. I wanted him to have that power without the drone. I wanted him to have the power of the illusion.
Which is
I thought it was a little
supposed to do.
yeah, I thought it was a little cheated. That one of the parts I didn't like about the movies, but he was basing it all off tech and the drones. I thought he could have done it with technology and like mind control or like gases or like have that ability like he does in comics or shows stuff. And I thought they cheapened it a bit by having him rely on these drones. So I thought this way that they did it, Matrix, like the glasses, the Iron Man. I thought that was awesome. The Iron Man hand come up, body up, and thought that was phenomenal. But I wanted more of that from beginning to the end.
We only got one other big moment.
Yeah.
So they had that moment. It ends after after he finds out the Fury really is Mysterio again. He ends up talking to Peter. Peter backs up on the train tracks, gets hit by a train. You know, at that point I was like, oh. And then we see him kind of get out all bloody, which was nice for a change. Here was like bloody, crawls into the drain, passes out. He wakes up to the Netherlands. Borrows a phone from one of the locals there. All happy to come pick him up. I'm just gonna skip ahead to there. And we have a moment where Peter. So Happy arrives. They have a moment where Peter asks him to confirm something that they only know. So at this moment, I thought for sure they're gonna lean on the fact that he's dating his mom, because they kept that whole like that bit with the awkwardness and him and his mom. Again, this awkwardness throughout this movie. They just have that's like their thing, and that's fine. But I thought like, okay, he's gonna come up and be like, I'm dating your mom, and then that was gonna be the line, but he didn't. Surprisingly, so I thought that was cute. Thankfully, brings him inside, and then we have this nice heart-to-heart moment where Happy basically becomes the Iron Man figure at this point in Peter's life, the father figure, and he's stitching up Peter, and they have a heart-to-heart about, you know, Spider-Man breaking down that I'm not good enough, I'm not Iron Man, I'm never gonna be him, and whatnot, and Happy tells him he can never be Iron Man, and Tony could never live up to being Iron Man. That it's like bigger than him now, and you know you need to be yourself. You need to be Spider-Man. You need to be who you are. That's what Tony always wanted from you, etc., etc. More lines were had. I thought he did a great job motion-wise. Like I felt it. I thought it was oh wow, like this great actor Tom Holland. I thought really did a great job.
I think he did a good job, but I think I've watched Arrow. I feel like I've seen this speech over and over.
Okay,
it's all my fault. I'm Could somebody just say, I tried my best
Wake
and
up.
I try again?
Wake up.
Like, I'm tired of it's all my fault. I'm just,
Okay,
you know, sorry.
is fair.
I like that Happy drew off. The only reason why Tony went back, get you back.
Yep.
Like he wouldn't have gone back if you back,
Exactly.
and that this is why
And he
you're
knew-
back. This is what you wanted.
And he knew that like him sacrificing himself was leaving you behind, and like that you were gonna carry Stefan and stuff like that. So I thought that was a nice moment between them. Okay, different of opinions. That's great.
Yeah,
I love it.
nothing wrong with that.
They find out. Sorry, let me jump. Oh yeah. So then, so he gets some courage at this point. Decides he's got to go. What would Tony do? And decides he's gonna make a new suit. So I thought that was cool. He's like, I'll cue the music. And I thought that was a cute little Iron Man reference with building a suit and doing the gadgets. I'm like, wow. And then Happy gives him a look and smiles like, there's Tony. There's young Tony.
Yeah,
like, I
'cause he
see it
sees
in you
him,
now.
zooming
He's
in
doing
with the
it.
technology,
He's
moving
there,
things,
and
just like Tony always did right in Iron Man.
Mhm.
And then playing the music. I love that playing.
Great. So, did you guys notice the suits? Anything? Did you guys notice before I?
I didn't see anything.
It was a mix of like there's a miniature suit in the.
There was
Like
the
a lot
Iron
of the-
Spider from Infinity
Yeah.
War and stuff like that. You guys noticed that one of them, and I could be wrong here because it was really quick. One of them looked like the suit from the PS4 game that was exclusive to the PS4.
Oh, I
Sorry, I
didn't
didn't
catch it.
know.
I saw that there's a bunch. I saw a tiny small
notice
one.
that?
I didn't know if it was a pig one.
But I thought it was cool. Like they're not just referencing like movies, or like referencing other things. Like again, multiverse, comic, like everything is being tied in. I kind of wonder: is this where Phase 4 is going to go? Are they literally going to like? Well, we've done all this stuff now up to Endgame. Like, are we going to go Phase 4 after this movie and just like completely turn everything on its head and like blow us away with expectation? Because if it's going to be more of the same, like you said, I've seen this before. people are going to lose interest and things are going to turn for Marvel. So I'm actually interested to see what their plans are. And I think this might be foreshadowing of like with the multi-universe drops, with the reveal at the end, which we'll get to that later on, and like yeah, these references of like video games and other media are all tied. Everything is like cohesive.
They could go that route for sure.
I think at the end they really show that they're going to go a different route.
Mm-hmm.
We'll get to that. Let it open.
Absolutely, we'll get to that. So yeah, so he decides his new suit. We have that moment. Then we go to the point where they're deciding the kids are all gonna go on a double-decker bus for, I can't remember at this point, a new tour. Was it to drive them to the airport? Was that why they're getting on the bus to get?
I think it was a tour. That
it was a tour, right?
Yeah,
so
they got
initially, and this is where I got confused. Up to that point, when they got back after the last fight, all the kids were in panic. They were gonna go home. Their MJ left. This whole scene happened. Peter's now in the plane. Now the kids are staying in there doing another tour. Like I thought they were all supposed to be heading.
Well, that was the Mysterio plan with it, as far as like getting his guys in place.
Correct, but I'm like, why were the kids all getting on the bus? Was it because they thought they were going to the airport, or were they actually going on a tour? That's why I was like, I thought the tours were canceled. So that was a little thing for me. I was kind of like, again, whatever. They need to get on the bus to get where they're going. I get it, but I just thought that was a little plot hole. If they explained it, I missed it. So they need to find out where Mysterio's going to show up next, and he remembers he told Mysterio that Ned and MJ know, so he knows that they're targets. They find out where they're located based on Flash Thompson's live blogging.
Yeah.
Okay? Edith find out where they're located, whatever. Oh, no, they didn't have Edith. They just, I guess, used Tony's tech and found out. So his plan is to land inside the illusion, so he can see the Jones and take them out. And I don't even know if he ended up saying that much to Happy. Just don't worry, I'll take care of it, right? Like he didn't explain it.
Well, he said we need to talk when I get back about you and my aunt. And
yes, that's
flew off the plane into. They had to get high so that Hero wouldn't see him coming from.
That's right. So the kids all head out. Obviously, it's an illusion. It's one of the guys to take them to the spot where you're gonna kill them.
And at this point, Fury's looking above with Hill. Tower.
They're in the tower. Absolutely.
Hero was doing. I thought it was funny. He said, "Okay, no Avengers are coming." So his rounds were really looking to see if Avengers were.
Right. And Happy was supposed to leave him with a cryptic message, which, again, that message that he left, I didn't get it. Like I thought
Tony left a surfboard for you.
Surfboard, and when I heard surfboard, I was thinking, is this supposed to be a reference to Silver Surfer in any way? And I'm like, no. And then I was literally found out it was just like a cryptic message, and I was like, but how does that like, what was Peter supposed to show up? And was there supposed to be like a way? Like, I don't know. There's just nothing that connected the word surfboard and anything else that happened. I just thought that was a weird choice for a cryptic message, but it is what it was.
I think they might have had some cues already set up that no one else knew.
I guess
because they work together. That if something's wrong, you say this phrase, and I'll figure it out. That's right.
So Spider-Man drops down. He ends up flying in and starts swinging toward wingsuit. Heads out towards the scissor reel. The scissor reel gets inside. We see another cool, I thought, scene of what it looks like inside the graphics with all the drones and stuff like that. He starts getting to work, starts webbing them, getting ready to blow them all up with his new electric webs and stuff, right? So he's in there doing his thing. Over here, the bus gets attacked by drones. So he blows up some of them. Quentin realizes there's an issue going on. He's up on the bridge in his weird little fishbowl helmet and realizes something's going on. He changes one of the drones. Sees it's Peter. The hologram is about to go down, and he tells the guys, just leave it down, whatever. Sends a bunch of drones off Peter, and I think at this point he dispatches 2 or 3 at the kids on the bus. So Happy's heading down to go pick up the kids on the bus. They all run. Happy comes to try to save them. Plane gets blown up. They disappear, head out towards some sort of a vault with some armor and stuff. Yeah. So that's all going on. While that's happening, I thought there was a really cool moment in there. Another reference to Captain America, where Happy grabs a shield and throws it, completely misses, and he's like, "How does he do that?" And just, I thought that was a cute little, again, nod back to previous thing.
Yeah, I thought that was funny.
And what about the mace that MJ grabs? First thing I thought of was Hot Girl. I'm like, that's DC. But I just thought it was an interesting choice that they chose the mace. I don't know if that has any reference. A lot of times, little things like that have references. Did you guys pick up on anything? Nope, just
I don't recall anyone. Yeah, I don't.
Nothing big? Okay. Because then she has it later on. She goes, I'll take it just in case. I'm like, they keep talking about this mace. I'm like, is there a purpose to that? I don't know. I didn't look it up, but I just was interested in that. Spider-Man runs out of webs after fighting a lot of these drones, and then manages at some point somehow to get up to the bridge. At this point, he grabs a scrap of a broken sign and a piece of a drone that's attached to web on the bridge, and looks like Cat from Endgame with a hammer and the shield. And I thought that was really cool as well. We'll like do this, right?
Yeah.
I thought that was really cool. So he's on the bridge. We have the drones closing in on the group that's inside the vault. The doors are closed. They're hiding behind there. So he has no more webs. He's got to go through this bridge. Quentin's calling all the drones to come. Edith says, it's not a good idea. You're the blast zone. He says, I don't care. Do it anyway. So Peter basically closes his eyes, and officially his spidey sense takes over. And he's going through doing an awesome scene, illusionary and non-illusionary, getting through that bridge. And while this is happening, Quentin gets shot, obviously, by one of the drones. And I thought, again, this scene was pretty good in terms of the effects and getting through that. I thought that was a really good use of his power.
Yeah.
Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I like that they finally brought Spider Sense, Peter Tingle. He calls it Peter Tingle this time as well. He says, okay, time to kick in. They use another one of those themes of.
Yep.
That was a cool bring in and show finally evolving into the Spider-Man that's supposed to be powers and deep inside.
So Peter finally makes it through to Mysterio, who's lying on the floor bleeding out. Find out that it turns out to be one last illusion. And Peter dodges the gunshot with the gun that's almost point blank to his head. It was pretty darn close. So he was able to dodge that. And Quentin, I guess, is injured and falls down. Peter takes the glasses from him. And then when he puts it on, he asks Edith. At this point, Quentin falls down and I guess takes his last breath. We see a cut back to like his buddy, like getting the information, USB, and kind of shutting down and getting out of there, right? So he, I guess, pulls the plug, if you will, right? Pulls USB. I think that's why they flash back to show that moment. And then Peter's like, Edith, is this illusion, or is he really dead? Or I can't remember the line he uses, but she says, all the illusions are off. He didn't say yes, he's dead or he's not. All the illusions are off. So I think that, again, that line was used because he may not be really dead. Again, another scenario could be used again. The technology is clearly not gone, right? The guy took off the technology. She didn't say that he was dead. She said this is not an illusion. Like, the illusions are gone. So he's lying there. He may or may not actually be dead.
Do you think that his other buddy taking the USB stick has tie in with credit scenes?
Yeah, I do. I think that's
absolutely.
The video footage of the post credit. But I think you point
He's
out.
Uploading?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I believe.
Yeah.
And when Peter puts on the glasses, you want to execute all the things he said.
Yeah.
He says, execute all.
Yeah, so everything, all the drones shut down.
And then
The friends get saved from the vault.
Yeah.
So, either way, I think this leaves the door open. I mean, even if he physically was dead, Jake Gyllenhaal's character is dead. Quentin Beck is dead. Again, the dropping of the multiverse, even though, again, he didn't come from another universe. That was, I think, again, laying the seeds, paving the road for a future movie. I think that in some way or other, he could come back to be part of Sinister.
I agree. I don't think he's dead.
I think because Vultures in the MCU, we have Vulture, we have Scorpion talked about, we have Shocker, they're all alive.
Yeah.
We have Venom, if they ever decide to tie him in now, he's there. In Goblin or Doc Ock or something, just been a bunch part of it. We know Rhino was also in Hong Kong, right? Wasn't he? No, that was amazing. Amazing. Sorry, I'm getting that confused. So yeah, I mean, they literally could decide to bring him back as this. But that was just my thoughts on like whether he's dead or not is inconsequential. I think they're leaving the door open if Mysterio can come back, whether it's just that guy using the tech or from a multiverse. I think Mysterio will be back.
I think it was very important that Edith said.
Correct. Not like because he says like, did he say?
No, he says, "Is this for real? Is this real? Is this real?"
And because like he was like, he dead, and she says all illusions are gone. There's not an illusion.
Yeah,
like,
so she doesn't confirm that he's dead or anything.
So I'm like very carefully made sure they didn't say that.
Yeah.
So something I thought was interesting. Cut to Peter and MJ get reunited on the bridge. Runs out, finds them there. He's very quick to take off his mask throughout this movie. But there he goes. They're on the bridge. They have an awkward first kiss, second kiss, third kiss, whatever. They have their moment. Did you want to say something? I completely agree.
Even at Aunt May's, like backstage.
I know. He says
he
someone's coming.
He
puts it back on. I'm like, oh, it's happy. Let's take it off.
It
What if
Yeah, someone come. Even when she went backstage, she opens up the curtain.
Yes, and you can't rely on his spider sense clearly because he's still like learning it. So
That bugged me throughout the movie. Like the
bad.
mask, just
Nick Fury at one point is like, "Take it off. Everyone knows who you are," and he takes it off. And but I'm like, okay, that makes sense. Versus
Yeah.
like, I'm just taking off wherever I go. I guess they just wanted to actor show his face. Maybe
make the money.
Yeah,
Yeah, you think that's exactly the reason?
yeah, because other than that,
Well, Tom Holland is pretty well liked, I think. Yeah, Marvel.
I think he's a great actor. I think he's
Right.
done very well for himself.
So
Always forget
showing
the
his
credits.
face more, you know, it's not the worst looking guy, so younger demographic
Yep.
to like and face as much as possible. So many. How can no one know? Like Clark Kent telling me if I put on a pair of glasses, you're not going to know who I am.
Well, we'll
Like,
find
come
out
on.
in a few seconds why that doesn't matter anymore. At the airport, so yes, they have some awkward moments, and then they separate, and she takes the mace with her, and he, I guess, just swings off at the point, right? Right?
Yeah.
So I'm cutting ahead. Again, if I miss anything, let me know. We're at the airport. MJ and Peter leave the plane together. We see Flash. We find out Flash Thompson is a rich kid whose butler picks him up. He asks about his mom. His mom couldn't get him. So I'm like, oh, okay, so he's got a little issue. That's why he's where he is. Okay. Aunt May is there to pick up Peter. Happy has a scene with Fury saying Peter will call Fury when he needs him. They have a little moment, but that's the gist of it, right? He makes that line. He's like, ha 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 ha, whatever. And again, I was like, that's not Fury. Like, there's something off with his Fury. So again, I just thought that was interesting, and maybe that was the purpose of it. Get to that. So they have their little lines there. Spider-Man asks if Happy and his mom are dating. Another awkward moment, and he's yes, and she said no, and whatever, they did thing there. Then Peter is swinging around New York, taking pictures of himself. Right at this point, right, swinging around, he's having fun. I'm like, okay, here's Peter Parker taking pictures of himself.
Daily Bugle.
Yeah,
that's the
future,
first thing I thought. I was like, oh,
right?
is he going to go
He
to his
decides he's gonna
job?
become a
Is he going to?
photographer,
Yeah.
On his way to pick up MJ for what I thought was a date. He arrives, decides, you want to go for a ride, takes her. She is terrified. I thought that was another interesting take. You see Superman, you see other heroes, and the damsel in distress is always loving it or really happy or whatever, and she's like screaming for her life. And I'm like, that's pretty cool. I guess
thought it was very cute.
you're like holding on and you're swinging at who knows the G-force and velocity. I'm like, that's pretty cool. So they did that. They're swinging for a while, and then the first credits roll with music. Before I go on, any comments there? Pretty cute ending.
No, I like that. It's realistic that she would probably. I'm not looking. I'm just going to bury my head in here and not look and everything. So I thought it was.
We're getting back to Peter Parker of like the original Sam Raimi movies now, where he's like Peter Parker. He's done school. We're getting to that part of his life, and he's enjoying being himself as Spider-Man.
Not all.
Okay. Did you want to say anything, Nate, before I jump to the credit scenes? Nope. Yes, that's right. So after the music rolls, vacation, blah blah blah. I can't, the music goes on. They're all swinging. They're having a good time. Then they cut over to them finishing their swing, putting her down. She says, "I'm never doing that again." Then he, I guess, says, "Okay, I'm gonna take off, whatever." Which
there's a first post credit, right, with Nick Fury.
No, that's the second.
That's the second.
Yeah,
Is it the second one?
Yeah, that's right. So we have that. So then he's about to go away, and then we hear the TV out in, I guess, Times Square or whatever those giant TV monitors are in New York. Come on, and J.K. Simmons is back as J. Jonah Jameson, which is great. I love that.
I love that. Yeah, that was another good part.
He's doing his come on, he's like the role, right?
Yeah.
So he comes out and he's saying, news, find out that Spider-Man killed Mysterio. We've got footage of him ordering the kill order, and you hear his voice saying, "Shut down the drones" or "execute." That's right. And so everyone's like, "Oh my gosh!" And he goes, "But that's what was the word here? Breaking news: the defense fire." Order the drones killed. And JJ comes back and says, "Here's the real kicker." And footage of Mysterio shows that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. And then we get a Spider-Man freaking out, very cartoony style. But I was like, wow, like I didn't think that they'd go there. Like now he's outed anyway. So the whole mask thing, I guess, didn't matter at this point. But before we go past that, what do you think about that ending scene?
That for me was the best scene of the movie.
It really sets up the next movie. Like, okay, so Public Enemy, possibly people hating him. Okay.
That reminded me of Civil War. He came out, he was on the side of taking off your mask, telling everyone who you are.
Yeah.
But then there's consequences to
Yes.
Aunt May, if she even passed away, like since attacked. They want to get to Peter Parker.
Yes, that's right. It's not in the movies. He's saying like
In the
just-
books,
Yeah.
in the books, it was an assassination attempt from King
That's right.
That's right.
that failed. But yeah, that leads to the whole one moment in thing. And
Yep.
their marriage is dissolved.
Yes, yeah, he had to go back in time and
Yeah,
have their relationship. No,
Yeah.
pretty much.
yeah.
Never know each other from the beginning, which was so
So
they
now
can
he's-
they can go so many routes with this.
So now
This
it's
just
like
opens up
Emily's a
everything.
target, MJ's a target, his friends are target, his job, whatever. Like his life is now like everyone knows who he is. Anyone that he's put away in the first movie, Vulture. Remember, he didn't want to tell Scorpion who it was. Now they know. Shocker, everyone knows. So I'm like, it'll be very interesting again if they decide to do a Sinister Six, which I really think they are going to do that. As maybe if it's just a Spider-Man universe collaboration movie, I think they're building up to that. I really
If
do.
they do it, I just hope it's all the original actors.
It better be. Michael Keaton
Yeah.
comes back.
Yeah.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
The guy who played Scorpion, I don't know his name. That guy. If Mysterio's alive, bring him back.
Shocker.
Is it Shocker still alive?
Yeah. So Shocker,
die?
the first one died, but then
there's a second one.
There's another guy?
Yeah.
The second guy takes the
Who's
thing.
like
It's
the
like,
real
oh,
Shocker.
I'll use this.
Yeah, bring them back and then get two other guys to do the other stuff. And go
That's
for
it. Like I said, I don't know if because the first Venom movie, this Spider-Man's not going to be in it, but I could have sworn, unless I'm mistaken, you can let me know in the comments below, if it is still part of like the Spider-Man universe, like if it's still tied. So Sony, like, does anyone know? I'm pretty sure it's
So
still.
Sony owns everything but Spider-Man now. They kind of
Well, they partnered with.
they-
They still own
they-
Spider-Man, but they
yeah.
partnered and they're working with Kevin
have a
Feige
deal.
for those movies. But you
Yeah.
can still say it's a Sony Pictures, Sony Animation.
Yeah, with Marvel and associated
Correct.
with Marvel.
Correct.
The Venom is just Sony.
Correct.
So they made a deal because they went bankrupt way back when Marvel, and they sold rights to Spider-Man universe and franchise. They made a deal later on when Civil War and all those movies coming out, buy back Spider-Man and say you can still have your name on it. We'll do everything else, all the work. You get some profit. You literally sit back and get the money. So they own that. So with the Venom movie, unfortunately, right now they might work out a deal later on, but standalone Spider-Man won't be. But Carnage is.
Correct. We know that. And so I always thought, like, again, in the comics, Venom and Spider-Man teamed up to take out Carnage because he's a big threat. So I was thinking, okay, maybe the next Venom movie, they'll bring Spider-Man in, and then officially it's tied together. And then that sets up for Venom being in Sinister Six. Again, this is just wish list, I guess, but...
I would love that. I'm a huge Venom fan. Actual Marvel having a hold of him, I think really improved. I enjoyed the Venom movie, going on a sidetrack, but it wasn't as good.
Yeah, definitely had some moments, but we're not here to review that one. But maybe we'll do a review at some point.
Yeah.
So then the second credit scene comes out at the very end, and it shows that Nick Fury and Maria Hill really were Skrulls in disguise, and so that explains why Nick Fury wasn't really himself. And then they're on the phone, and he's actually talking to the real Nick Fury, who you find out it looks like he's on the beach. Pans out, and he's actually in a ship in space, and it pretty much has him walking through the ship, and you see the big, galaxy, and then it cuts. I'm not missing anything there, detail-wise, right? So, is this setting up Captain Marvel 2, or is there another reference here, or something else you think this is tying into? Is it supposed to be like Captain Marvel 2? We know it's coming,
I think the next movie is setting up for Captain Marvel.
but that's not the next one coming out.
The next one.
I'm pretty sure that I haven't looked this up. I know for a fact that we know that there is a Guardians 3 coming out.
Yeah.
We know for a fact that
Black
there
Panther
is
2.
a Black Panther 2 coming out. We know there's a Captain Marvel 2 coming out and an Ant-Man 3 and Doctor Strange 2. Those have all been confirmed. I don't know the orders. Black Widow prequel.
And then
Correct.
there's the Eternals.
There you go. So I don't know which one comes first, but I don't think Captain Marvel is the next one on the list after just having her movie this year. Like
I think they might have filmed it back to back. At this point, well, if you already have all the actors and
it's
everyone
possible.
That
together,
makes sense.
so Guardians can't be done yet because they're waiting for James Gunn
Correct.
to direct it. So he's
Correct.
finishing Suicide Squad's sequel. So that won't be the
Black
next
Panther
one.
was like a year previous to Captain Marvel. That's why I thought maybe that one would come up sooner. I have no idea. I just thought, like, if Captain Marvel is the next film, interesting. I didn't know that it was ready or that they were that close.
I'm not sure either. I'm just speculating that you're already kind of filming.
Yeah.
You're going because she filmed Endgame before she even filmed.
She did
Captain
Endgame,
Marvel.
Infinity War, and Endgame are
2020.
filmed simultaneously.
Yeah, and then if you already have that going, and it difficult,
Yep.
might be able to, but this is especially with that kind of end scene. What else? They usually try and set up their next movie with their end scene, right? The post credit. So
and that's why I thought like, okay, this is clearly
It would have been
he's on the
Guardians
ship.
would have been nice, but
But
with the
that's clearly
director-
Captain Marvel's, or not Captain Marvel's, but the scrolls. But the scrolls are on, right? Is that what it looked like? Right, that same
Yeah,
ship at the end of
yeah.
Captain Marvel. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what made me think it might be equal. Yep. For them,
It was in the 90s.
no,
Does anyone know?
you got me thinking. That took place before Captain Marvel took place even
So they've been
before.
up there.
It's like he's been in other movies.
Well, he got
in
dusted,
between.
and came back, and then I guess
So
Captain
I
Marvel
guess-
must have took him because she has other things to do. Must have taken him up to the ship and did her thing, I guess.
Well, the fun thing about all of this.
Yes.
And are you familiar with Secret Invasion?
A bit.
Okay. So there was a story in the books where you're sort of moving along and you think everybody's who they are, and then you find out like a good portion of the Marvel heroes and villains are Skrulls.
Yes. But they made the scrolls out to be good.
Yeah,
The
but,
Kree evil and the scrolls good.
But we're not sure if all the Skrulls are good.
So you think there's like a divide where like
It could be, and maybe it's wishful
some are good,
thinking.
some are bad?
This could be something. I mean, and I have no idea. Maybe I wish they would. They could drop this for the next few movies and just say, okay, just so in this movie we established there's a whole bunch of Skrulls and some of them are on Earth. In the next movie, some of the people who you think aren't Skrulls are. If they want to make this the next big thing that they bring the Avengers back for, I mean, I'd be game. I have no idea.
That would be interesting.
Setup.
Yeah, that would be very good because they've done Civil War, they've done Infinity War.
At this point, like this was the end of Phase 4 because this movie was filmed as well, like close to Endgame. So it's like now the doors are open; they can do whatever they want, right? We know Tony's now officially gone. They can decide to have someone take up his reins. Cap is too old to continue, so we have a new Cap America. They're gonna have their own show on Disney Plus. We know that. We know that Loki has a show, but he's not involved in this. We know that WandaVision, which again is also, other than the reference of Vision, in memory, is gonna have a show. So I mean, they literally can do whatever they want at this point going forward. And we know they're gonna have a collaboration movie maybe in the next 5 years. How they're gonna do that? Is X-Men gonna be included? Fantastic Four gonna be included? That stuff I have no idea, but
yeah, because now Marvel owns Disney owns
Fox.
Fox, which had the X-Men, Fantastic Four franchise. Really does open up the door.
and now that the Marvel Netflix shows are officially all done, like any characters are fair game to use, right?
Well, they can't use those ones.
Not those. I didn't know that.
Yeah, they can't use Daredevil, Jessica Jones.
Until 2 years.
Not till.
Even so,
Even the
They don't
X-Men,
need to.
it's a couple of years.
they
before
could
get
do like a
released.
Spider-Man in the city. What do they call the Heroes for Hire? They could do something like that down the road, set them up, and just get 3 of them in the same movie, and launch them all, as opposed to.
That's what I really enjoyed about Civil War, the movie, was having all the different characters and mashing up. It's like another Avengers movie without it being
Yeah.
So that was our spoiler-filled section. Now we're just gonna go over our final thoughts and impressions of the movie. We'll kick it off. So I'll start with saying that overall, as a movie, I enjoyed myself. I came out happy. I thought the effects were great. I enjoyed those 2 scenes that we saw, the illusion scenes. I thought that was really, really great, playing on his powers. I thought they set him up. His motivation was good. I thought that was solid. Again, connecting everything into the lore of the MCU, I thought was really great. I thought the setting up for future possibilities for Spider-Man was also really great. So no complaints from that perspective. And I also thought that overall as a movie, I thought that despite some of the plot holes and some of the awkwardness and jokes that may not have hit as well as they could have hit, a solid 8.5 out of 10 for me. Dwayne, go ahead.
Okay, so I really like. I'm glad that the actress who was Betty Brant got more space in this movie because I thought she was funny in a previous movie and the else that she had. So glad that she got more. I really like Zendaya. I think she plays a very good, awkward Mary Jane. And to me, I could get more of her on the screen. I just like the way that she comes across.
Yeah.
I think Tom Holland is very good as well. I have no problem with him. I like the effects with Mysterio once he becomes the Mysterio that I guess I'm familiar with, and and the way that again that scene like I think whenever a movie can make you second guess what's going on, it's
Mhm.
really doing a good job. And
Mhm.
I didn't know again when that stuff was beginning and ending, and oh, it's the end and all that. So I thought they did an excellent job there. Um, I really mean it when I say I thought the best part of the whole movie though was that post credit scene
Mhm.
because to me that infused it with an urgency that I felt was sort of there with this movie, but it's sort of
Okay.
like I knew the way it was going to end, and I was like, okay, this is. It was a little bit disappointed or something, but I mean, I don't know. It was an easy movie to watch.
You knew the outcome, as opposed
Yeah,
to Endgame. You knew that someone wasn't going to make it, or some people weren't going to make it, but you didn't know who. Whereas
yeah,
this
there
is
was.
like, you know, Spider-Man's not going to die,
Yeah,
right? Like, you just, this is a Spider-Man movie. He came back. Yeah, he's good. So I understand what you're saying.
and I was curious that Mysterio knew his identity, where that was going to go. But I find most of the time, when the villain knows the identity, villain's not going to last too long. So the Vulture's still around,
Mm-hmm.
and Mysterio, as you said, could come back. So I think there's a real element of danger now as this goes forward, and that's exciting.
Yes.
You know, I
Yes.
think it's just hard sort of to say, okay, where will they go now because it's so wide open, and there's nothing for the rest of this year until next year. So that to me is exciting. Excellent to see J.K. Simmons back.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was excellent. And as we talked about again, the final scene with they're out in space now. I mean, there's just a lot of places they can go. So I'm very glad that it ended that way.
Yes.
Because it just didn't bottleneck the thing and say they sort of pigeonhole themselves. Now it's like, no, this can it's really wide open and it's
Yes.
gonna be really
Almost as if, again, leaving the past behind us. We've established Peter Parker. We've been with this character, this teenage character. Now it's like we're moving on. We're past school. We're gonna get a career. This next movie could take place potentially a year in the future, 2 years in the future. Spider-Man is now, you know, older and like trying to figure out where his place is. Like there's so many, like you said, so many places to go. I thought that was really cool. Whether they pick up months later or years later, I think they can go either way and decide what they're gonna do. Go ahead, Nate. What do you think overall? Okay.
There's
Yep. Awesome. And Chris?
So I would give it similar 7.5 out of 10. I thought the ending saved it. Going into it, I'm like, you know, it was an entertaining movie, which is what it should be. I wouldn't see it again in theater, similar to you, which shows a lot. So you know, I saw it the one time. Okay, it was all right. I wonder where they're going to go from here. At post credit, they can go anywhere. Honestly, which just made the movie so much better knowing. Okay, here we go. They can choose any route they want, and they haven't hinted which they're going. So it's that suspense that you have. I wanted to see more of those, you know, illusions that we saw near the end there. So I would say I started getting more into it 3/4 into the movie.
Yeah.
Yes.
When things started picking up, the illusions were starting to go.
Beginning of Act 3.
Yeah, that's when I really started getting more into the movie. At the beginning, I was like, oh, this is kind of dragging on. Okay, it's a little bit of a love story, awkwardness, teenager thing, and then it got action where, well, you know, superhero movie, you want the action, you want the excitement, you want the graphics, you want, yeah, and all those kind of cool, like, oh, did you see that? And kind of,
Absolutely.
which is what I got 3/4. So that's what, if it was like that, 3/4 of the movie, I'd be more happy and rate it a bit more, but a bit of a little backstory for a second movie that could have been taken origin stories, but overall, decent.
Okay. Well, there you have it, folks. Those are our overall impressions of Spider-Man Far From Home. Do you agree with us? Do you disagree? Please leave a comment below. Like or dislike the video. Let us know your thoughts. We'd love to hear from you. Also, to support us, please subscribe to our channel. We'd love to get the support. And any other closing remarks there, Chris?
So one thing was from the trailer, he fought all these bad guys, and I was talking to the cops and say, "Oh, I don't want to do your
Oh, yeah,
job.
that part wasn't even in the movie.
And then he's like, well, I'm going on vacation. And they didn't even put that. I thought it would have been an awesome part to start off the beginning of the movie as an opening, knowing that he's going on a trip. So I thought it was really funny that they put it in the trailer and they shot it, I guess, just maybe they cut it out thinking that it was useful. But I just thought of it now. I was like, oh, the trailer showed this part. It's kind of funny how he was jabbing with the cops, but had that good relationship where they kind of partnered. Because in some comics, the cops were trying to chase him because he was a vigilante, but he kind of showed that he had a relationship, and they didn't show. Now, so I want to bring that up.
Is there any other Easter eggs or any other moments that we didn't discuss?
The other thing I would say is, I think if you are, because when we went to go watch it, there was a group of kids who were probably a little, and there were some parts where they were like up and down, and I think it was in the relationship. So if you are a 13 or 14, there's some parts in his you'll really enjoy.
We had the same thing when they kissed. There's a couple of girls going woo behind the woots and stuff like that. So you're right. We on the younger crowd enjoyed that relationship building, romance.
Yeah.
Together, you always see chase each other.
Absolutely. So I think overall, we recommend that you watch the video, the film, the movie. I think that, again, from our overall scores and impressions, that it's worth the money to go see it at least once.
Hard to go after Endgame, right? It's a big movie to follow up on, so off that way too. But they did well.
Yeah,
it'll entertain you.
Yeah.
Perfect. Also, feel free to shoot us an email with any other topics or any other movies you'd like us to review. And that's pretty much it. So as always, stay nerdy.